A pardoning decades in the making. The story of Lena Baker, the only woman put to death by an electric chair in the state of Georgia, is still being set straight in the small town of Cuthbert.
WLB News 10's Lena Allen shares how the Lena Baker story is still tipping the scales of justice today.
It's been over 7 decades since the shocking story of Lena Baker happened right here in the small town of Cuthbert.
It was sort of one of the best kept secrets in Cuthbert.
A secret Leila Phillips, author of the Lena Baker story, was itching to share with the world. In 1941, Lena Baker worked for a white man by the name of Ernest Knight. The job turned into a prison for her, as Knight would often sexually assault her and hold her against her will. But on April 30th, 1944, Knight was shot in the head after he and Lena tussled over a pistol while Lena was trying to escape. Lena immediately told the coroner what happened and was charged with murder, not knowing that her fate was already sealed.
This was the exact courtroom that Lena Baker was tried for murder. That trial only taking 4 hours with a half-an-hour jury deliberation that led to her guilty verdict. And then, just steps away from the courthouse, Lena was locked up in jail.
Less than a year later, she was transported to a Georgia prison where she was electrocuted.
When asked if she had a last statement at her execution, Lena replied, "What I done, I did in self-defense, or I would have been killed myself. Where I was, I could not overcome it. God has forgiven me."
She was shocked several times for 6 minutes until she died. But to this day,
Lena's name is still echoed throughout the streets of Cuthbert.
It's history here, and it'll always be history here.
60 years after Lena's death, she was posthumously pardoned. Randolph County Sheriff Eddie Fairbanks says Lena's story has continued to tip the scales of justice.
Now we fight each and every day in Cuthbert and anywhere else in the state of Georgia that everyone receive a fair trial.
Her story resonating with people not just in her hometown, but also nationwide.
What of course drew me to the story is just, once again, her name, Lena, just like mine, and the meaning behind it, shining a light, a ray. Would you argue over 70 years later, her story still rings true?
She certainly, I think, enlightened the court system about the ills of society that we had at one time, and perhaps we still have somewhat today.
Lena Allen, WALB, your hometown news source.